Hello, my third grade friends, and I'm gonna continue our adventure with James and the Giant Peach, and we are on chapter 30. They all raised their heads, listening. Shh, there it is again. But the voice was too far away for them to hear what it was saying. It's a cloud man, Miss Spider cried. I just know it's a cloud man. They're after us again. It came from above, the earthworm said, and automatically everyone looked upward, everybody except the centipede, who couldn't move. Ouch, they said. Help! Have mercy! We're going to catch it this time. For what they saw, swirling and twisting directly above their heads, was an immense black cloud, a terrible, dangerous, thundering-looking thing that began to rumble and roar even as they were staring at it. And then from high up on the top of the cloud, the faraway voice came down to them once again, this time very loud and clear. On with the faucets, it shouted. On with the faucets! On with the faucets! 3 seconds later, the hole underneath of the cloud seemed to split and burst open like a paper bag, and then out came the water. They saw it coming. It was quite easy to see because it wasn't just raindrops. It wasn't raindrops at all. It was a great solid mass of water that might have been a lake or a whole ocean dropping out of the sky on top of them. And down it came, down, down, and down, crashing first onto the seagulls and then onto the peach itself, while the poor travelers shrieked with fear and groped around frantically for something to catch a hold of. The peach stem, the silk strings, anything they could find, and all the time the water came pouring and roaring down upon them, bouncing and smashing, and sloshing and slashing, and swashing and swirling, and surging and whirling, and gurgling and gushing, and rushing and rushing, and it was like being pinned down beneath the biggest waterfall in the world and not being able to get out. They couldn't speak, they couldn't see, they couldn't breathe, and James Henry Trotter, holding on madly to one of the silk strings above the peach stem, told himself that this must surely be the end of everything at last. But then, just as suddenly as it started, the deluge stopped. They were out of it, and it was all over. The wonderful seagulls had flown right through it, and it had come out safely on the other side. Once again the giant peach was sailing peacefully through the mysterious moonlit sky. I'm drowned, gasped the old green grasshopper, spitting out water by the pint. It's gone right through my skin, the earthworm groaned. I always thought my skin was waterproof, but it isn't, and now I'm full of rain. Look at me, shouted the centipede excitedly. It washed me clean. The paint's all gone. I can move again. That's the worst news I've had in a long time, the earthworm said. The centipede was dancing around the deck, turning somersaults in the air and singing at the top of his voice. Oh, hooray for the storm and the rain! I can move, I don't feel any pain. And now I'm a pest, I'm the biggest and best, and the most marvelous pest once again. Oh, do shut up, the old green grasshopper said. Look at me, cried the centipede. Look at me, I am freed, not a scratch nor a bruise nor a bleed. To his grave this fine gent they all thought they had sent, and I very near went, oh, I very near went, but they sent quite the wrong centipede. That was the end of chapter 30. Chapter 31. How fast are we going all of a sudden, the ladybug said. I wonder why. I don't think the seagulls like this place any better than we do, James answered. I imagine they want to get out as soon as they can. They got a bad fright in that storm we've just been through. Faster and faster flew the seagulls, skimming across the sky at a tremendous pace, with the peach trailing out behind them. Cloud after cloud went by on either side, all of them ghostly white in the moonlight, and several more times during the night the travelers caught glimpses of cloudmen moving around the tops of these clouds, working their sinister magic upon the world below. Once they passed a snow machine in operation, with the cloud man turning the handle and a blizzard of snowflakes blowing out of the great funnel above. They saw the huge drums that were used for making thunder, and the cloud men beating them furiously with long hammers. They saw the frost factories and the wind producers, and the places where cyclones and tornadoes were manufactured and sent spinning down toward the earth. And once, deep in the hollow of a large billowy cloud, they spotted something that could only have been Cloud Men's city. There were caves everywhere running into the cloud, and at the entrances to the caves the Cloud men's wives were crouching over little stoves with frying pans in their hands, frying snowballs for their husbands' suppers. And the hundreds of Cloud men's children were frisking about all over the place and shrieking with laughter and sliding down the billows of the cloud on toboggans. An hour later, just before dawn, the travelers heard a soft whooshing noise above their head, and they glanced up and saw an immense gray bat-like creature swooping down toward them out of the dark. It circled round and round the peach, flapping its great wings slowly in the moonlight, and staring at the travelers. Then it uttered a series of long, deep, melancholy cries and flew off into the night. "Oh, I do wish the morning would come," Miss Spider said, shivering all over. "It won't be long now," James answered. "Look, it's getting lighter over there already." They all sat in silence, watching the sun as it came up slowly over the rim of the horizon for a new day. Okay, we'll go on to chapter 32. Chapter 32. And when full daylight came at last, they all got to their feet and stretched their poor cramped bodies, and then the centipede, who had always seemed to see things first, shouted, "Look, there's land below!" "He's right," they cried, running to the edge of the peach and peering over. "Hooray, hooray! It looks like streets and houses. But how enormous it all is! A vast city glistening in the early morning sunshine lay spread out 3,000 feet below them. At that height the cars were like little beetles crawling along the streets, and people walking on the pavements looked no larger than tiny grains of soot. "But what tremendous tall buildings!" exclaimed the ladybug. "I've never seen anything like them before in England. Which town do you think it is?" "This couldn't possibly be England," said the old green grasshopper. "Then where is it?" asked Miss Spider. "You know what those buildings are?" shouted James, jumping up and down with excitement. "Those are skyscrapers. So this must be America. And that, my friends, means we have crossed the Atlantic Ocean overnight." "You don't mean it!" they cried. "It's not possible! It's incredible! It's unbelievable!" "Oh, I've always dreamed about going to America," cried the centipede. "I had a friend once who—" "Be quiet," said the earthworm. "Who cares about your friend? The thing we've got to think about is how on earth are we going to get down to earth?" "Ask James," said the ladybug. "I don't think that should be very difficult," James told them. "All we have to do is cut loose a few seagulls. Not too many, mind you, just enough so that the others can't quite keep us up in the air. Then down we shall go, slowly and gently, until we reach the ground. Centipede will bite through the strings for us one at a time." And that's the end of chapter 32, and I think we will stop it there. Now for your discussion. Bye.